You may have had somebody recently try to maybe reconnect with you from the past. This could have been somebody that you used to maybe once be committed to. This could have been somebody who you were in a relationship with, possibly a Taurus or a Gemini. I think it was more so the universe just maybe checking to see if you were in alignment with your higher self or still kind of falling into old patterns. This is somebody who really caused you a lot of stress and anxiety. Maybe at one point you did maybe wish for them to come back. But it's like when they tried to, I think you were like, it's not in alignment with me anymore. I think you were actually quite surprised at the lack of excitement that you felt when they did try to reconnect with you. You've really done a lot of work on yourself in getting more balanced and kind of more even in your energy. You've really kind of gotten very centered and more sure of yourself lately. This is kind of like let go and let God. You've just really come to terms with kind of the universe's plans for you and kind of staying in alignment with where you're supposed to be and who you're supposed to be around. You don't really stress out about the things that used to stress you out or the people that used to stress you out. That person is just no longer in alignment with you. And I think you realize that very quickly. You're actually falling more in tune with your intuition, listening to yourself, trusting your intuition. You're sort of understanding that at one point there were things kind of below the surface and you missed some things. People were maybe keeping secrets from you or trying to deceive you or withholding information from you or withholding their motives that they had for you. And at one point it really worried you and kind of broke your heart and stressed you out and really made you feel depleted and you know, not fulfilled. But it's kind of like you've cried your tears. It's in the past now. And the things that you held on so tightly to, the things that you just knew you couldn't live without, breathe without, continue on without, the universe kind of forced you to let them go. And once you did, you kind of understood it's not that serious. It's not that important anymore. You were maybe forced to see some things that you didn't necessarily want to see. And you could have probably gone your whole life without seeing those things, but now that you've seen them, there's no going back from that. You've seen people's motives. You've seen people's thoughts and plans and actions and how they treat you. And the toxic cycles that you were in, the binding that you felt toward these people or had with these people, or how you felt so in need of them or unable to move forward from them, or just toxically binded to them in a way that didn't allow you to be in alignment with who you truly are. It really kept you from pursuing your path and following your purpose. You've kind of put those burdens down. You quit being burdened by them, allowing yourself to be burdened by them, carrying their burdens for them, letting them burden you. I almost just wanted to knock on the deck again, even though I already had done that. Somebody could be coming to visit you, knocking at your door. You could be going to visit somebody. You could have a false start. You've kind of realized that there's two paths. Yeah. Well, first of all, you've gotten back up. I think at one point without these people and this situation, and it was more than one. It was kind of a whole cycle that you were in that you didn't even realize. It really wore you out and it really took you out, but you were able to get back up, and that you did. And I do get that you got back up by yourself. Nobody was there to help you. You've had to learn to nurture yourself, and you've in turn learned to nurture others in the right way. I see Queen of Swords neutral. This does not mean that you're not honest, and it does not mean that you're just blatantly sharp. You're kind of in a neutral position. You kind of are acknowledging what requires nurturing and kindness and what requires you to either be sharp and detached or calculated or to speak the truth bluntly. You've also noticed in yourself that you don't have to always speak the truth that you feel. Sometimes you just need to know it internally for yourself. So there's always kind of this you find yourself at the crossroads in some situations where, yes, you know the truth, but are you being too sharp or detached or calculated? Does this require nurturing, or for you to nurture yourself and to stay sweet? Or is this something that really requires you to speak on how you feel? And you kind of take each situation as it comes. There's no black and white to this. There's sometimes a gray area that maybe even sometimes requires both. Just lovingly, I see the truth. lovingly, I'm letting you know that you're full of shit. You know, you don't have to let everybody know everything, but as long as you know it and you see it and you move accordingly, you don't let people play with you anymore, regardless of what that outcome is and how you deliver it, whether you deliver the truth at all, halfway, gently, or sharp as fuck. Nonetheless, people can't play with you anymore. You just now know the situations that require you to really, really come in sharp, or to maybe withdraw a little bit, or to not say anything at all, or to just deliver it in a nurturing way. Because not all situations are malicious, but they still harm you and drain you. You've kind of learned that the people that you had around you were very deceptive. They were. They moved with ulterior motives, and they had different plans of how things were supposed to go. They acted in selfishness, and they only wanted to fulfill what they wanted to fulfill. They acted very careless with your well-being. They made plans to, you know, they saw it going a different way. They were there for a different reason. Maybe you showed up with love and wanting connection and thinking that you guys had an understanding, but they always had something going behind the scenes that was very self-serving and malicious. You've now noticed that regardless of the reason why they move that way, they still move that way. And it's not always about intention, it's about the impact that it has on you, because regardless of whether they meant it or not, or whether they were stressed or not, or whether they had a bad childhood or not, it still had an impact on you. And you can't be around those types of people. The truth is they have work to do on themselves. And if they can't do it, then they don't need to be around you. And you don't have to tolerate anything that doesn't serve your higher good. You don't. Anything that outright defies who you are and outright diminishes your character and outright comes for you, you don't have to be around that. You don't have to make excuses for it. You could know that maybe they have a dark attachment on them, or maybe they have a situation that occurred that made them be that way, or, you know, you can have sympathy for that, but in the same time, your self-respect will always come first at this point, and you won't allow those people around you, regardless of the reason why they act that way. You've come to terms with you can't change anybody, nor should you. It's not up to you to change their path. It's not up to you to twist their fate and make them see what you see in them. And it's only up to you to pour into yourself. And if you ever catch yourself saying, I can fix them, that you need to look in the mirror immediately and think, what is wrong with me that makes me want to fix other people instead of fixing myself and the version of me that tolerates this? That's what you've come to terms with. And that's probably the realest thing that you've learned in this past year, specifically this past year. You recently closed out a lot of cycles that were sort of open and open-ended. They weren't really finished out completely. It's like you had learned your lesson sort of, but you didn't execute what you had learned, or you didn't learn the lesson in its entirety, or you needed to learn one more thing to close out that cycle, or you knew what it was, but you still didn't want to close out that cycle. Some lessons were on repeat, and you had to learn them over and over and over again. But you recently just closed out a major cycle specifically. A lot of little ones too, but a major one. And I think that major one is just knowing to always put yourself first and to quit putting the happiness of others in front of your own, and to prioritize yourself first. And that's not actually a selfish thing at all. It's just common sense, and that's what they would do anyways. But you at least do it with good intentions, and you know that you're not going to drain yourself for anybody anymore ever again for any reason, no matter how bad their life was, or how sorry they were, or how much they don't understand what they're doing. Or you've now learned that that's not your problem. You won't sit around and be disrespected and stolen from and lied to and cheated on and degraded and hurt and harmed and plotted on and somebody's punching bag, and you're not going to take that anymore. You're not. I think you have a lot of people really confused right now by you. I just saw the 7 of Pentacles. I think people who thought that they could get something out of you have learned that they can't, or that it severely backfired on them. But most importantly, you just look at it again, 7 of Pentacles and 6 of Wands in reverse. The people who you really gave attention to, you're no longer doing that. And you don't require their attention as well. You don't want any of that. You don't require their attention either. You don't plan on giving it any more time, any more effort, any more energy, any more validation. No acknowledgement at all whatsoever. There's people out there that really feel like you should acknowledge them because they're used to you acknowledging them, and they required that. They got used to that. They got too comfortable with that. And now that you are standing on your own 2 feet in your own energy and more sure of yourself and more sure of what you'll accept, it does make them feel away, but that's also not your problem. They're analyzing you to see what they could get from you, and you realize that, and you protected yourself from that. 7 of Wands and 7 of Pentacles. 7 could be an angel number for you. 1977 could be significant. 2007, 1997. You've realized that people were analyzing you to see what they could take from you, and you had to stop that. You had to block them from being able to access your energy and thinking that you were a meal ticket or a scapegoat or a solution to their problems or their mommy or whatever. You're not any of those things. You realize that, is it worth it for you? No. So it wouldn't matter if it was worth it for them. You know what you bring to the table. You built the whole table while they watched you and analyzed you to see what they could get off that table. And we won't be doing that anymore. July 11th or November 7th could be significant. September 7th, since I accidentally said that, that could also be significant. The letter S, I think every time I'm starting to say something with an S, I'm stuttering or feeling sort of a pull in my chest. Somebody whose maybe name starts with the letter S. Y'all may have had a really painful situation that damn near took your breath away. That could be very significant. You have another person that is in your energy. They're sort of pulling on your energy. This is a possible fire sign feminine. It doesn't have to be, but just somebody with a fiery attitude, fiery demeanor. That's very bitter. She's sort of the type that she doesn't want to say she's insecure. She may not even realize she's insecure or how insecure she truly is, but she definitely compares you to herself. She definitely is very envious and bitter and thinks that you shouldn't have what you have. She has told herself and convinced herself she's better than you, but she knows that's not true, and so do you. I think you submitted to that energy for a while and let her have her way, but I think you got sick of it. She's very burdened, and she needs to kind of work through her own shit. She did nothing but bring you trouble and headaches and misery, and you sat there and took it all, and she expected you to because you did for a long time. You won't be doing that anymore. December could be significant. Someone could be 34 or 43. You could have a 12-year-old. Could be 21. Could have a 21-year-old. 2021, 2012 could be very significant. 2004. I want to see who this Queen of Wands in reverse is. You also may have a masculine water sign that let them tell it you left them out in the cold. They feel neglected and abandoned by you. But the truth is you had to withdraw your energy. Virgo energy as well. You really had to withdraw your own energy from them because it got a little out of hand. You had to almost really escape from them. You separated yourself from them. You also could have an unhealed Leo, that you exposed something about them. The way that they were moving was very impulsive, chaotic, and self-serving. They didn't really think about the consequences of their actions. You also could have a masculine fire sign who really thought that he could dominate you or control you. Doesn't have to be a fire sign, but I do feel that he is. Possibly that Leo. You broke his heart is what he's telling everybody, but really he broke yours and you had to react. But by you withdrawing, you quit absorbing his karma, and it really caused a tower moment in his life. Y'all could have been married. That legacy is now broken. There's that Leo energy again. He really tried to dominate you, and he really thought that he could, and he continued to, and you let him for just a while, but not anymore. Not anymore. He's feeling very hopeless without you, and he's having to face himself, and you know, his day of reckoning has come. He's having to really look at himself and understand that you protected him for a very long time, and you prevented that tower from falling, but without you being there, that tower is falling. You emotionally disconnected from him completely and withdrew your energy completely. Could be a Gemini, doesn't have to be, but nonetheless, you had to make a soul level decision on where you were headed in life. And does that equal your happiness, what they were doing, which was probably cheating? They definitely valued their friendships and connections above you. There was a third party situation, multiple of them. They very, very much so valued their social connections and third-party connections and kind of living free and careless and reckless, partying a lot. They didn't take life serious, and you were there to pick up the pieces of that. You have a possible Pisces in your energy that feels very stuck without you. They feel very stuck without you. They're really contemplating on everything, and without you being in their life, it transformed them in a major way. Scorpio energy as well. Just water sign in general. I think this does circle back to the same water sign that feels abandoned by you, but you were forced to make a head over heart decision, because every time you made a choice with your emotions, it did not serve you at all. It served them, and that's why they liked you, depending on your emotions, to make your choices for you. But you had to get very independent where they were concerned, and you really had to start prioritizing yourself. So they feel away. They don't not understand why you did what you did. They just wish that you didn't do it. Even though you were fully justified in what you did, it doesn't benefit them. So they just wish that you wouldn't have recognized what was actually happening and prioritize yourself. It's a broken connection. I think at one point you may have considered this to be a soulmate. There's a lot of connections here where you had to get very sharp and detached and calculated and call judgment, because for quite some time, you not only ignored your intuition, but you didn't call judgment on these situations, and you let them make it time and time again, over and over. There's quite a few people that I'm feeling a lot of energy here. You were kind of the mother to them, and you just accepted your role, and they were just fine with it. And as long as you were willing to give, they were willing to take. And as long as you wouldn't say no, they were willing to demand, as long as you would submit. Now that you quit submitting, they're almost wanting to make you the bad guy. This change pretty much almost happened overnight. And you're just fine with being marked as doesn't play well with others at this point. These people feel very unstable without you. They feel like kind of the rug was pulled from under them. They had gotten very accustomed to you just doing whatever and emptying your own cup to fill their cup, and not calling them out on their bullshit, and just going along with it and acting like you didn't see what was happening. For a while, you maybe didn't see or didn't want to see, but once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. They just were betting on the fact of, you didn't see it, or you weren't going to say anything. You were going to continue to accept it. And I think you realized after a while you were the only one putting in any effort. They got very cocky and comfortable with you draining yourself for them to try to cater to them, and scared for them to leave or scared for them to be upset. But you ended up being the one that left. And now they're the ones very sad. They think about you a lot. A lot. Back to this fire sign, possible feminine, this Queen of Wands in reverse. I want to go ahead and pull on her energy a little bit and see what this is. This feels like a friend of me. This feels like somebody very fake. You may have recently disconnected from her, and she's definitely feeling like she's entitled to your shit. She was not very nurturing with you at all whatsoever. She definitely prioritized herself. Y'all could have met in a friend group. She's now sort of feeling away for sure. She's like, not even, oh, I miss this person, but who the fuck do you think you are to even think that you had a choice to leave me? She just knew you'd always be around. Fake as fuck. She's making a choice right now. Yeah, she's definitely analyzing you. She's definitely a karmic. She may be putting an effort to make some type of plan to come towards you, deciding how she's going to handle the situation, when really the situation was just you got tired of dealing with her. You didn't do anything to her. You just retreated. Four of Swords. You just pulled back. She is astonished that you think you had a choice, because she feels very entitled to your energy. She never even saw that as an option. This very well could be a Leo. Yeah, like I said, she was not very nurturing with you. She was actually quite cruel, but her real problem is she doesn't nurture herself, and so she expects others to sort of cater to her. She's actually kind of a really wicked person. She's very stupid and mean. She likes to maybe put on this facade of her being balanced and even, but really she maybe used you as a shield to kind of deflect from her poor character. You were kind of the thing that evened out that connection and gave her any sort of chance of looking like a decent person. She does that a lot with people. She doesn't want anyone to know how terrible she really is. Unless she wants somebody to know how terrible she is, then she'll discard you because you're too good of a person. Move out of the way. That doesn't benefit me right now to look holy. But when it does, she'll have a nurturing person around her to appear that she's nurturing. She'll use that energy and kind of drain it that way. She'll make moves off of your energy. Very, very much so could be a Leo strength. She wanted to sort of stronghold the connection and make you submit. And I think for a while, not even that you submitted, but you just tolerated it. And it wasn't that you were doing anything different. You were just being yourself, which was kind. But I think at one point you really had to tell her about herself, because she was very comfortable with you sort of not coming up against her. And coming up against her is just you not submitting to her in her eyes. Emperor. She doesn't like that you're standing on your own 2 feet now. She doesn't like that you are actually able to run your own shit, and that you're able to control your own life, and that you're able to take the charge of your own life. You've made her very bitter. You've made her very resentful. She's very, very sharp with other people and the way she speaks to you. She would never speak to you like that directly. Yeah. But she's just definitely feeling away that you made this decision at all, and she's trying to maybe block out her emotions, because really at the end of the day her feelings are hurt because she just never thought that anyone would ever leave her the way you did. Y'all could have been friends for a while. She's feeling very sad. Could be a Scorpio, 5 of Cups. You've benefited a lot of people by being in their lives, because every time you leave, the burdens come on, and it turns them bitter, and it really just shows their true character, how they really are. Because if they were your true friends, it wouldn't be what they lost when you left, or what negative things happened to them when you left. It just shows that your light was really protecting them for quite some time. Your presence held weight in their life, and they knew that. Part of them knew that, for sure. There was a benefit that comes with you, that when you leave, they feel so exposed and empty that it makes them angry toward you, but you didn't do anything wrong. They should have treated you better. All you did was leave. They want to make you feel bad for that. They're trying to act like they're not as sad as they are. They just want your attention. They definitely operate in their ego. They want you to continue to stroke their ego the way that you used to. You won't be doing that anymore. They're pretending that you have a choice, or that they have a choice to have you back in their life. You're never going to go back. You'll never do that again. They feel stupid. Right now they just feel very unstable without you around. Because when they had the choice to choose how to treat you, that's how they chose. They thought that you would always submit to them, and they could dominate you, and it would boost their ego, and you would still give them the benefit of you being around, and it makes them feel very clingy and unwell and emotionally ungrounded. They're very much so still watching you. They're very curious about you. Thinking about you really is making them feel away. They see something in you that you maybe have gotten this spark about you, where you're actually pursuing your own passions and pursuing your own happiness. And they can't get enough of it. I mean, they're watching you every move you make. They're right there. They're asking people about you. Y'all still may be connected through some third-party connections. They're definitely on your social media on more than one fake page. That's absolutely the truth. They're acting very, very juvenile, but very nosy at the same time. You could have recently gotten some text messages that maybe were from a blocked number, or a fake number, or an unknown number, some phone calls, or even like a message request from a page that you don't know. It could have been like a burner account from somebody, like maybe TikTok, Facebook, Insta, something like that. You could just notice in your views pages that you don't know, and when you click it, it's like, page not available, something like that. Just, you may notice even like more people adding you, or people that are maybe viewing your stories or your posts, and they're not your friend on there. They're not subscribed to you. They're not following you. You just kind of notice them there. You could have seen recently maybe a whole bunch of fake pages trying to add you, maybe, or even under like people you may know, and you're like, this is weird. Why would I know them? Maybe suggested friends on TikTok, and you're like, I don't know them. Yeah, they're watching you, and they have other people watching you too. They're like, hey, can you check on so-and-so? Or let me tell you about so-and-so real quick. And something just touched my back. That was weird. 8 of Wands. Yeah, there may be some communication coming in pretty fast. Probably in your message request folder or your spam folder. Or you may hear something. You may hear that somebody was talking about you or asking about you. People that you've emotionally disconnected from. Could be a Scorpio. Could be a Pisces. Could be a fire sign masculine. All those exact same cards. Those same people that you disconnected from. They may be connected. Are they connected? It may have just been from a time in your life. All these people were around you. They may not be connected individually, or they may be, but they're still very much so thinking about you, very predominant. One once again, was somebody that you were very, very much so committed to. Could be a Taurus, but I do feel divorce vibes. It ended very painful in a heartbreak situation, and 10 of Swords. And by you being single and independent, it's devastated them. I do feel that. I do think that that's the fire sign masculine. I want to know a little bit more about this fire sign feminine. It just keeps getting brought back up. She is very sharp and cold and detached. I keep seeing Queen of Swords when it comes to her, but I want to know kind of maybe the extent of y'all's connection. She's just kind of the most predominant in your energy. She's just feeling like the audacity of you to move on. 7 of Swords. She is not. She definitely had some ulterior motives for you. Maybe you left before she could get what she wanted out of it, and she just feels the way she was very hopeful when it came to you. She maybe benefit off of you financially, or you made her feel stable. Wolf in sheep's clothing. 5 of Swords. A tower. I mean, you really caused a tower moment for her. Who is she as a person, Spirit? Who is this? 10 of Coins again. What is 10 of Cups? Eight of Swords. Y'all could have been, is this a family member maybe? 2 of Swords, neutral. All these same cards. Devil. Could be a Capricorn. I doubt it. Could be a Libra. I doubt it. She was very toxic. It's like when, like she didn't actually put in any work into y'all's connection. She just thought that you would stay around for forever, but who is she as a person? 10 of Cups neutral. She wasn't happy. 10 of Coins, she was maybe trying to fulfill some sort of legacy or something from you or with you, or secure something. She maybe avoided making a decision, or pretended to not see something that happened to you. Pretended to not see something that happened to you. She could have helped you with something and chose not to. She saw everything. She was very aware of it. Something that was very unfair.